right. Hello, everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu, and you're tuning into episode 34 of the TLOY Talks podcast, audio edition, live at 1990 Studios in Midtown Toronto. How are you guys doing today? You'll definitely tap in with this good experience so far, and it's an amazing story to hear so far, So today we have one of the most remarkable rising producers in the game right now who's worked with the likes of Bert the Plug, Drippa, AP, and much more, like AP Two Tone, and has like a lot of affiliations with Nice Clothing and Ase Juicery. So you'll definitely hear like a lot of dope lo-fi beats from there, and a lot of other dope productions too. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Remix Chalet. Remix, how are you doing today, man?
Hey, what's up? I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for coming back to the platform for the very first time, and I appreciate the support throughout like the years and all that, and just with everything going on. Like I've been checking in like some of the stuff too, with like all your content and everything else too, with the production, with other content as well, and it's dope to hear and all that, So,
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Most definitely, man. And like you have like an interesting story so far, like that I've seen like in this other like podcast, like on IG Live, and then like just with some other stuff too. So, but I want to give you your very first time like sharing your story for a bit too. So, where did you grow up, and what was your environment like for you as a kid at that time?
I grew up in a small town called, or maybe it's not that small now, but it's like called New Market. It was like small back then, and growing up there, it was good and whatever. It's like peaceful and everything. I had a lot of friends that were like musicians, and a lot of friends that were like into making music, all different kinds of music, like rock and hip hop, R&B, just whatever. It was like a good time there, It was just like, it was a cool vibe.
Nah, most definitely, man. And I know with New Market, there's like a lot of like dope up and coming artists like in the game right now from there. Like whether it's like photography and for anything else too, like animation raps. Like he's like a well known like rapper from there, and like Dawson ISO, who I recently had on the pod like just a while back.
Okay.
Around from those realms too. So it's like kind of interesting with the connections going on too. And I mean, New Market for you, was it like big back then in music or not as much?
Like big back then with music?
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know I don't think it was necessarily big back then with music, but I feel like it was, to me, it felt like it was big back then because like I had friends that were in bands, and they kind of like did stuff. Like I had a friend that was in a band called Serial Joe, and they like kind of blew up and stuff. They were like on Much Music and stuff, and they were like touring, and they were signed and everything. I've had friends that like I don't know. I had like a lot of friends that were like in the music scene, so like to me it felt like it was kind of popping at the time, but maybe it really wasn't in terms of when you think of everything in like Toronto and like stuff like that,
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like your childhood too back then, like what was it like growing up? And would you say it was like a very great experience, or would it be like different at that time?
I'll say it was like a good experience. I feel like my childhood was like more, I feel like it was like kind of like sheltered, sort of. Not really sheltered. Like I did like, actually, no, I wouldn't say sheltered, but like, I don't think it was like, I didn't really feel like there was like too much danger or anything like that, Like, I felt like where I grew up was like a safe place and everything like that. And it just, for the most part, it was just like a safe place, and like people were like friendly and everything.
No.
Like there was times when, things happen, but it is what, but for the most part, everything was good.
Sure, no, I definitely know what you mean, man. And I know that you've had like friends that made music before that made it to like Much Music and like other people like around that realm that were kind of like popping at that time too, like whether it's through like art or through like sports or for anything else too. But like growing up, like who did you like listen to throughout your life? Like some artists or like sounds and all that.
Um, okay, when I grew up, I was like listening to like when I grew up, I was like listening. When I was younger, my brother put me onto like hip hop, like rap and like Bone Thugs and Harmony, like Tupac and like Biggie and like all that kind of stuff. Like I had an older brother, he put me onto like all that kind of stuff. Like then I started listening to my own stuff like Eminem, Snoop Dogg, like hip hop, and 50 Cent, you know. Then I don't know. As time went on, that's what I'll say. Like when I was like younger, like that's like what I listened to. Like when I was like younger, like pretty much that. I also listened to like a lot of rock music at the time because I also play guitar. So I listen to all kinds of music to tell you the truth.
Definitely, and like even in that era at that time too, was it, like at that era where it's more so like downloading music from like LimeWare or like iTunes, or was it more like you're buying like you're buying like CDs back then, like every other time it's like Friday, it's like the latest drops and like just pick up that single project or that album like in that sense too, or
I feel like I was like in both eras, like where you like buy the albums, like where I'm waiting, like what I would used to do is like I'd be talking with my friends. I'd be like, "Oh, yo, did you read the Source magazine? Like, it says like this album is gonna drop, and then back then albums drop on Tuesday, so I'm waiting for the Tuesday to come around to cop the album." But I was also like around for the time like downloading the albums as well. Like I've been like both, I would say, you know.
no, I definitely know what you mean, man. And like, how did you get into producing in that sense too, and like making music? And what was like your musical history and background like?
Shit. I'll say my musical history. I don't know if my musical history was that good. Like when I was like took music in school and stuff like that, like I wasn't like good at music. I was like actually like very bad and stuff. Like I couldn't play the clarinet like how they wanted you to. Like they kept switching me instruments. Like it wasn't that good. I had a friend, like a best friend at the time. He put me on like he sat down with me and he taught me how to play the clarinet, like that instrument. From there, like I kind of like learned how to pick up the other instruments. Like it wasn't that hard to me. I have friends that play guitar. I always watch them play guitar, so it made me buy a guitar. And then by the time I bought it, like I pretty much knew how to play. I don't even remember, but like yeah, like that's like pretty much like how that all like went down. So for like, and then the way how I started making the beats is because like when I was in high school and whatever, I had a friend that rapped, and he like he was like good at rapping or whatever, and I was just like trying to like promote or whatever. I wasn't even trying to do anything. I was trying to be like Diddy or some shit. Like I was trying to like I don't know. So anyways, I was like trying to like shop this guy around. I linked up with the next guy, and they started making music together, and I tried to like start to make beats, and all eventually like the first guy left and I started like rapping in the group, and we all make beats. It was like a requirement where we all had to learn how to make beats. That's like pretty much like what it is. So like that's like how I started. Like everyone in the group had to like know how to make beats, and then like I stuck with it.
No, most definitely, man. And I think, with beat making to it, like there's like a lot of like simplicities to it, because it's not just through like, like a free loop like sound type, or, you're using like some other stuff too, like the 808s and everything else too. Like some, you know, they were beat making, they were beat making through tables. They were beat making through like drumsticks and all that, pencils, and you know, they just kind of had like the rhythm from there and all that, you know. So I feel like, as you mentioned, you know, like beat making, like you know, it's a process to get into, and you know, there are people that are gonna try it like through like many different ways, like in that sense too, like whether it's through like drum kits, whether it's through other stuff too. So yeah.
No,
Nah,
no, that's true. That's true.
yeah, man. Nah, most definitely. What inspired you to become like a producer in that sense and like take your career seriously to like the next level?
Shit. Let me see. I always like making beats. I just like making beats. Like it's just something that I would do, even if it's just something I would do, like no matter what. Like I don't care if like I make money or anything like that. It's just something that I would just do anyways. And for me, it's just like something where like I just want to be like a good producer. I don't care like about money and stuff. Like I just want like people to be like, yo, like this guy like remix Chalet, like his shit is like it's lit, like it's proper. Like only good things when you hear my name when it comes to like the music production. And I guess I had like a lot of people are like around me like telling me that the beats are like proper and stuff like that. And like when I had like artists like hitting me up and saying like, yo, your beats are good, like can I rap on them and stuff like that, or can I sing on them, like that's what like gave me more the confidence to be like, I guess I'll try to push it, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. Because like I know like as mentioned before too, like there's like a lot of like you know competition nowadays too with like producers and like with everyone else too. Because I think with Toronto, it's like you know striving to become like the next star and all that, and you know it's more so producers like competing against each other, like engineers competing against each other. Like it depends on getting that placement and you know getting like that notoriety and that fame like through that beat and all that. And like some people made it, others it's like a different thing too. But with you, it's like you know more natural and all that. You know, it's just like you just going in your own lane, and like if it works out, you know, people are like tapping either way. You know, so
Yeah, exactly. Like I ain't trying to like it's not I'm not like trying to force it, and I'm not trying to be like I don't care. I'm not trying to be like, oh, trying to force something and like trying to like get in like no like the music and like I don't really care about that. Like or like I'm not trying to like I told you before, like I don't even like really care if like the people like I don't even really charge sometimes because it's like if I just like you and I just like the vibe, then I'll give you the beat for free. But I don't know, like these guys are trying to get, you know, they're trying to make a bag, you know, like
yeah.
I came in with a bag, like I don't care with about that.
Ah, true. No, most definitely, man. And we'll get more into that later on for a bit. So my bad on that. But you know, who are your idols like in that sense too?
Uh, like would you say like beat making wise or
Just all around, you know.
so I'll say like my idol. I don't like to have like I don't like that word idols, yo. I don't like idols, but like I don't like to try to keep idols, like you know, like I feel like that's like, but there's people I admire, and that's cool, and like I admire people like Jay-Z. Um, I admire people like Jay-Z. I admire people like Future. I admire people like Taz Arnold, Kanye West, and pretty much like not really like people that you would know, not like celebrities or anything like that, but like more so like real people like that I know, like real people in my life, family members and shit like that, friends I have. Like I admire those people like for like certain things that they do, like stuff like that, but not like celebrities and shit like that. I don't know.
Ah, true. No, I definitely know what you mean, man. And you know, I know that you've talked about like you know influences like in that sense too. But who are like some people that you'd like to work with that you haven't like worked with before in that sense?
Um, shit. Like I guess I don't know. I feel conflicted with my answer with this because it's like I don't really care who I work with. It's like whoever's whoever. But at the same time, I feel like I want to like work with like I feel like to in order to prove like the skill, like I gotta work with like someone like big, and then it's like since it's all Toronto, I guess I would say like Drake, but no, but that's it.
Nah, I know what you mean. Yeah, because I think Drake, like whenever he makes something gold, it kind of works out, like or whenever he finds something too, like he'll turn it into like gold, like one way or another, and all that, and it's like, more so with people like, I mean, Blockboy JB, Smiley, like all those other people too, it's like he'll try to make someone like interesting in that way too, that kind of make it like that best sound possible too, and like even though they might not be as like polished at first too, like there is like some rough edges, like he'll find that sonic sound that's like kind of going through, and he'll make it work, and it turns into virality in that sense.
Like this is why I like feel conflicted about Drake is because it's like a lot of reasons. It's like I understand what you're saying, like with like finding those artists and like it's like he like kind of takes them to next level. They talk about the Drake stimulus pack.
Yeah.
Drake jumps on your record and then it's like big or whatever. But like me, to tell you the truth, like I'm so into myself. I'm not even. I see what he's doing and everything, but it's like, yo, check out what I'm doing. Like I'm doing something over here. Like my shit is that shit. Like and I feel like he should be I don't want to sound cocky, right? But like they say like Drake like taps in to like the Toronto scene underground and he knows what's going on. It's like, yo, you really tap in, you don't know what's going on with me, like then you don't know what's going on because I got that fire. So like if you know what's really going on, you be tapping in. And that's why I be feeling like I say like I feel conflicted because it's like I don't think he be taking mine to the next level. I think I be putting him onto something. But like to each their own.
No, most definitely. I mean, I think there was like this one post up one time because I know you're tapped in with like Bartlett House like deeply, and like there was like someone that performed at their event like one time, and Drake sort of like commented on that thing too. So I think he is tapping in like the unique sources too. So, but yeah.
We'll see.
Nah, most definitely, man. And in terms of your creative process, like when producing, like what's it like, when producing a beat or like making music, and like what would a day in like producing a beat or making music be like for you?
When I usually just make beats, like I just make it by myself. I just like I kind of like have a studio at the crib and I just like I might like listen to music before or something, or I might like and just like try to get some inspiration, or a lot of times like I go for a walk and then like I just like listen to music and then like get lit or something and then come back and then try to make something. Sometimes I'm sleeping and then I wake up and then like I'm just like jump right at it. Like it's just like whatever.
Nah, 100%, man. And I know like some people too, like they'll blaze up, like or they'll like sip on some licks and all that to kind of get in that element too, or like they'll just like go to like a random place to get that moment. So I don't know if you'll usually like catch those vibes to find that best beat, or like
Yeah, I catch those. Yeah, I definitely catch those vibes. I might even like light up the candles, light up some incense, roll something up, have something to smoke, have something to drink. My bad.
Yeah, no
have
worries.
something to drink, and I don't know, as long as the vibe is right, then like I feel like it's good to like start making beats or whatever. But at the same time too, like sometimes I feel like I'll take my laptop, like just my laptop by itself, and then I'll go somewhere like to a park, and then I'll like make a beat like there too. So, or
that-
like make a beat in a different country, shit like that, you know?
No, I definitely know what you mean, man. And I think just like even within those styles too, you kind of like find like the best creations in that sense too. And I only like thought you only had music on YouTube and like for other stuff too, like from other artists, but you actually have like a shitload of tapes that I never really like tuned into because I was like tapping more into the YouTube stuff. I have to definitely check into like the Spotify and Apple Music in that sense too. But yeah, projects like what Spin the Block, I Need Me, Judas Kiss, and like your self-titled project. So tell me about those creative processes and like inspirations for some of those projects.
For the projects, like I've been, like I said, like I've been making beats for like a long time, like ever since like I was like in the group or whatever. I've been making beats, like it's just something I always did. And then someone someone like I had a friend that told me that maybe I should put out like a beat tape or something like that. And then I just like put out one beat tape. It's actually my friend that owns the juice shop at 982 Bloor. Go check it out. You know they make the best juice in the city. It's always lit when you go there. The vibes is always proper. 982 Bloor. So anyways, my friend, he's like, yo, drop a tape. And I just did that and like put it on Spotify or whatever. And then I did that. Then I was like making lo-fi music like for his shop. He owns a juice shop, so like we wanted music that like goes well with the shop or whatever. So I was just like making like lo-fi music and stuff like that, or chill music, so he could like play it in his shop. And like that's how I guess I got started with like dropping like the beat tapes like that, like the Spin the Block 1, 2, 3 remix, Chalet, I Need Me 2, Judas Kiss. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also put out a next beat tape, which was like but it was like on a business card, like a flash drive business card, and that had like 60 beats on it, just like some promotional shit. But yeah,
Yeah, nah, most definitely, man. And that brand that actually helped him throughout the way is Ase Juicery and all that, who's like well known within the juice community with a wide variety of juices too. And they also share that same shop with like nice clothing as well too. So, like, I know that you talked about Ase Juicery like through your start in music, but how did the Nice clothing affiliation come about, and what was like that relationship, working with Ase and like Nice clothing, and in terms of your musical journey and process, and what was like that relationship like in that sense?
so like like my friend, we grew up together and stuff, and he started getting like into health and things like that, and he started juicing and stuff like that, so he like started a juice bar. And I don't know, like, so I guess like when he started it, like the Nice clothing also was there as well. Like they like worked out of like the same building and everything, and that's how I kind of like got linked up with that. And and through that, they're like a clothing brand and everything. They've done clothes for like a lot of people, like I don't know, like a lot of like celebrity people they done clothes for. They've done stuff for like even Drake. If you go check their page out. So like that's how I got linked up through that. I played them my beats. They liked my beats and stuff, and they just wanted me on that. So we're business partners, but that'll come out later.
Nah, most definitely, man. And I think even with these like affiliations too, you've actually worked with like the likes of like Trip Six, who's actually affiliated with Roy Woods, Bird the Plug, and AP Two Tone, or like is it just only AP or AP Two Tone?
AP.
Oh, true, true.
Yeah.
And like he's like the same guy who worked on Finesse and Kowal, right? Or
Yeah, yeah,
true,
yeah.
true. So how is it like, your experience, producing those beats for those like artists like that, and how was like that feeling like, having your beat be on their songs and just like collaborating with them?
I don't got nothing bad to say about him. I think that guy. I think AP is like cool. That's like a cool guy, and like I was actually shocked when he jumped on my beats. Like I sent it to him, and like someone told me, like I had a next friend that was like, yo, you should like try to work with more Toronto artists, and then they like showed me some songs. He was one of them. I DM'd him one time, but back then when I DM'd him, I went by a different beat name, a different name. I DM'd him, I sent him a beat, and like 3 days later, he sent it back, and it was like fire, and like he's just been cool. So like he DMs me, I DM him back, like I send him stuff, and it's just what it is.
True. And like Bird the Plug and Trip Six, like not as much about them, or like
Burla Plug, like that's another artist.
yeah,
Like I'm happy about that collaboration because like I actually like listen to Burla Plug's music, and like I was always like, yo, I want to make a beat for this guy, and with that, like I pretty much had like a younger cousin that went to school with him, and then she like messaged him and told him that I make beats or whatever, and then that's how I got in contact with him, and then through that, like I just like kept sending him beats or whatever. I sent him one beat, he liked it, he jumped on it, and it was lit like that,
nah, 100%.
And then Tris X, is that what you said?
I said Trip Six. I don't know if that's the same guy or different guy.
Maybe. Oh no, I meant Tris X. That was
Yeah.
yeah. So, but with that, I sent him a beat pack. He liked it, and I went to one of his shows, and he like shouted me out and everything, and I just like send him beats. That's how that goes,
Yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, interesting like list of names too. Like Bird the Plug, the last time I heard about him was like back in like 2021 when he dropped his like debut project, and then I haven't heard about him since then too. I mean, aside from like the interview with Broadcast Wheeler, but hopefully new music's gonna come soon. So
I think he has like new music coming out, but like maybe he like just switched up the direction a little bit of like how he goes or something. So like maybe like that's what it is. But I still listen to him. I still think he's fire.
true.
Check him out.
Nah, most definitely, man. And usually like when I look at like certain brands too, like a lot of people like show their face like a lot, like in many times too. But with you, you want to like hide the mystique for a bit too. Like kind of put yourself like in mystique for a bit to kind of make it like a mystery in that sense too, so you don't like really show your face as much and all that type of stuff too. So what made you decide on like not wanting to show your face in terms of your branding?
Like at first, like I was just making beats, but like, like I always like doubt myself. Always like question myself, like, yo, is this actually good? Are my beats fire? I didn't want to put like a face to like it. I just wanted to just put it out and see like what the reaction would be, I guess. And I'm not like out there like that. Like I'm not really an extroverted person. Like I'm not really like, I won't go out and like turn up and shit. I just like be chilling. So like I just don't want to be like seen like that. Even if I do go out, like I'm not like, I'm always like I'm like low key and stuff, Not trying to do too much.
Huh. I definitely understand too, and like I know like a lot of people started off with the Mystique too, like Nav, like he didn't really show his face until like 2017, 2018. Like her, you know, like the R&B singer, you know, she only used like silhouettes like at her time, like when she first started out too. So, you know, the Mystique kind of helps out people for a bit too, you know, like not show like who they are, you know, more so enjoy the music as it is too. And like I can understand it from like, you know, like a personal level where like anything can be impacted too. Like some artists like who are like out there like showing their face, all that type of stuff too, you know, like they get the consequences and you know they face and all that, they get the consequences that they face and all that, like whenever something were to happen, or like the acknowledgement, and it kind of depends from there. But like when someone doesn't show their face like that, or is like on like the low and all that, like you don't really get to see like those like types of issues like that. So not a lot of stuff can like happen in that sense too, you know. So but
Yeah.
nah, definitely, man. And I know you've be collabed with like other producers before, so you know what was that experience like for you?
I done a lot of beat collabs too. I always collab on beats. I've done a lot of beat collabs. I'll say it's like 50-50 when it comes to that. Like sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Like I don't know, sometimes it's like they're not that good and it feels like you're carrying all the weight. But like I guess all in all it's good because you're like learning every time you do it. Like sometimes they might be better than you and you might learn something. So that's how I feel about like the beat collabs and everything. But like at the same time, like now as like time goes on and stuff, I'm like also too like when I used to be in like the group or whatever, like I used to collab with like one of the like artists then, and like that was like always like a smooth process, and like we made like a lot of beats and everything that way, and that always like went good. But as time goes on, like I'd rather do it myself, man. I could do everything myself. Like I could do it myself.
Yeah, nah, 100%, man. And I think with producers too, like I think like a lot of people, like producers, like nowadays too, kind of get critical of their own work too, like in some situations, like or like even when they hear like another producer's work, because I feel like, as we talked about earlier, you know, like nepotism, like you know, like a lot of like ego issues, like when it comes to like beat making, all that type of stuff too, you know, like finding like that right sound, and like if they have that better sauce than you, or if you have the better sauce than them, like sometimes too it's like jealousy and like all this like other type of stuff too. I didn't mean to say nepotism because that's kind of like a different meaning, but like I'd say like, you know, like a lot of ego like in that sense too, because when you're in a room with like 30 producers, 40 producers, engineers, you know, and like they're working on the stems, they're working on like the snare, they're working on like the horns, they're working on like, you know, the guitar, the piano, all that type of stuff too. You don't know like which one might incorporate well than the other and all that, and like some might overpower other ones, others like, you know, it might not shine as much too. And you know it's crazy too, because I actually like listened to this producer beat that had like a lot of people too, like Trauma Tone and like band play, who's like Young Dolph's producer, and like a whole lot of like other people too, 30 Rock from like Ray Shrimmer and like all these other people too. So sometimes it could be good, like that effect could be well, and then there's others that, you know, could like go one way or another, you know. So
Um, like I hear what you're saying with that. Like, yeah, you're right. Okay, like sometimes, like I might get in a room or something, and like I'm like, yo, this producer's like really good or whatever, and then like I might get that like little quick whatever of like maybe intimidation or whatever, something like that. But to tell you the truth, like these days, like hardly like that ever happens, and like um even like for something like this, like I told you, like I don't even like come out, like I don't even like show my face. I don't even like, I'm not out there like that. Like I wouldn't even come out unless like I knew my shit was like fire, like for sure. Like so,
yeah,
like even when I'm in like that shit, like I'm better than all those guys, and like for anyone out there, like if you, remix Chalet, RMX, CHV, LET, like hit me up on IG and we could go on IG live, beat for beat. Yo, we could put a bag on it and we could see what's up and we could see, let the people decide and see what's really going on. Like that's how I feel about it right now. Like I'm not watching no one else. I'm into me.
Yeah.
I like what I'm doing. Like I got my own sound. Like these guys, man, I don't know, man. I don't want to sound like too
Like nonchalant and all that. Like
no, I don't want to sound like too like I'm above like other
Yeah.
people, like, cause it's like at the end of the day, it's like all music and it's like it should just be fun, but it's like at the same time it's like I kind of take it seriously, so like I'm not like they're like copying someone else or something. Like
Yeah.
I'm coming with my own sound, my own vibe. Like my shit's different. My shit's my own sound. It's not sound like some next guys. It's not like I'm like, oh, this is these guys would be like, oh, yo, this is a Future type beat, Drake type beat. Like this is a remix Chalet beat. Like that's what you're getting. It's like and it's gonna be lit when you get it. Like that's what it is. That's how I feel about that.
Nah, most definitely, man. And you know, getting onto your stage name right now. How did you get that name?
My stage name, like, I was with someone at the time, and they were like, as I was coming up with, like, when I was like starting to like put out beats and stuff, I was like, yo, what should my name be? And like that was just something that they had said like right off top, and I kind of like the way it sounded, and I was like, yo, like, what made you say that? They're like, I don't know, I just thought of it, I just like the way it sounded. And I just used it.
Nah, 100%, man. And like your growth as an artist too, like, you know, just like even realizing that right now, did you feel like you've grown as an artist from the start until now in that sense?
From
Like the start, you know, like when you first started like working on music until like now where, you know, you have like a lot of like placements like in your system and all that, and like, you know, like a lot of like dope connections and like affiliations like right there and all that.
yeah, I feel like I've grown as an artist. Like I said, like, well, like for me too, like the first thing, like when it comes to music, like I first started playing guitar like at age 9 or something. So like that was like my first like music, like me like playing music or anything. So from then all the way to now, like from when I was like in the like rap group and stuff and everything, like all the way up until now, like I feel like there has been progression. Like that's like pretty much like what it's like, that's like the thing that like I care about the most is the progression, not like, oh, can I get a bag off this, or can I like sell like this much beats off of BeatStars, you know? It's just like the progression, and like people being like, yo, this guy's lit, this guy's fire. Like people come in, like my name is like good, like it's like, yo, when you hear my name, it's like, you know that it's gonna be fired. That's what I care about. That's all I care about.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. And I mean, mainly you do like lo-fi type beats and all that, like lo-fi production, like in that sense too, within hip hop, within like the store cases, and just everything else too. And you know, lo-fi being one of the more like popular like genres right now, like since like the pandemic, you know, used for studying, used for TikTok, and a lot of other stuff too. Like, how do you feel about like its rise, like right now being like popular through those like eras?
Um, I enjoy lo-fi. I like lo-fi, but I gotta be like real with it. Like it's like it wasn't like I was always like into lo-fi like that. So I feel like I can't really like comment on it like that. Like I feel like almost like I like just like I told you, like my friend had the juice bar, and like, you know, like the lo-fi like went good with the juice bar. So like that's what like made me start making that kind of music. But it's not like something where it's like I like lo-fi like my whole life or something, and like people are now jumping into it, and like have a comment about it, like, cause I'm like one of those people that just jumped into it, like through the pandemic and stuff. That's how that
Yeah,
is.
nah, most definitely. And I could say the same thing too with, I mean, rapper type beats right now, like, because nowadays too, like, that's kind of like also like the hype too, because there's no like unique form of production nowadays. Like nowadays, like when you go on YouTube, it's like Polo G type beat, Lil Baby type beat, like whatever type beat that you want to type nowadays. And I've spoke with like many other producers about this, like Bavaro Beats, JD makes noise, like a whole lot of other people too, like when they make their stuff. So how do you like feel about that, and if it diminishes like their artistry, like when making those types of productions and all that?
Like, how do I feel about their?
Like how do you feel about like rapper type beats, like in that sense too, and if it like diminishes like one's artistry for people who do tend to make that type of sound?
I don't hate on anything. Like, someone, like, whatever someone wants to do, like, they could do. Like maybe like rapper type beats like fits, because like in the sense of like if you're like out there trying to sell your beats or something like that on BeatStars or something, and someone wants a beat that sounds like Future or Drake or something like that, then maybe like that is what works for you, like to have like rapper type beats or something like that. But in the whole sense of like music, I would say like like I don't really respect it. I respect originality. Like that's what I care about. Originality and like someone having their own sound, and like someone bringing something like new to the table, someone like changing the game, like some like stuff like that. Like not just like copying someone, like, oh, this is like Future type beat, Drake type beat, Metro Boomin type beat,
Yeah, no,
stuff like that.
no, 100%, man. And I think even in that sense too, like it is like sort of like interesting with the rise of production on what's going on too. Like right now, it's Griselda. Right now, it's like hyperpop. Right now, it's like basic like Jacksonville like boom bap type stuff and all that, like Jacksonville like trap rap, like in that sense. So sometimes anything can change like here and there and all that, and I think I don't know if we discussed briefly on that, but what's your gear setup like when producing? Like, what gear do you like mainly use? Like Fruity Loops or like Pro Tools or that type of stuff?
I use like right now I use Logic Pro X. That's what I use as my DAW. And um I also use like a lot of like analog keyboards. Like I'm into like old school like synth keyboards. Like I'm into like a lot of Casio keyboards. Like I'm into like sampling keyboards, SK1, SK8, teenage operating no teenage engineering, like their like products. Like I like have like a OP1 and like pocket operator and like stuff like that to like sample. um Obviously like the MIDI keyboards, stuff like that. I don't know, but like really I like try to like even like with that, like I try to do something different. So like I guess like what I try to do is like I try to find like vintage keyboards from like the 80s or something like that to like incorporate into this sound and stuff like that. And then like Logic Pro X as my DAW. I used to use FL Studio, then I used to use FL Mobile, but I'm off that.
No, most definitely. Some people still use like like MPCs or like 808s and that type of stuff too. Like, do you get like that type of stuff too? Like as like a rental or like to sit out for a bit too?
Um, I also work with like another like producer sometimes. His name is Nabisco Jetson. Check him out, IG. And like he has like the MPC and everything,
Yeah.
and we could do it that way. But to tell you the truth, like I don't even do it like that, because the way that I use the keyboard, like I use like a keyboard like it's a MPC. Like
Sure.
I rather track everything out through the keyboard and then use the keyboard as if it was like a MPC. And I want my own sound and I want my own way of doing things. Like even the way that I make the beat is not like it's. I know it's not like how everyone else would make a beat. I don't know.
No, 100%, man. And you have an upcoming project soon, Crown, and I think we've talked about it like a little bit like before the interview.
Okay.
So what can fans expect from that project, and what's like that creative process and inspiration like for that?
Like for that too, like for my that album that I'm gonna drop is called Crown, and that's gonna be the like I make beats for like other people all the time. Like people are always asking me like, "Yo, can you send me beats or can you make beats for this artist or stuff like that?" But like for the Crown, it's just like more for like myself, and it's not like your typical music that I would make. It's not like it's more like soul music. It's like more like of an older sound and like from like inspired from like 60s and 70s and stuff like that. But also with some new sound in it. It's more for myself. And even with that it's like I'm kind of like maybe halfway through with it, but like I only work on that when like I'm in the mood to like work on it. When it's done, it's done. It's gonna drop. It's gonna be fire as well. It's just like, shit. Whenever I make beats, it's like I'm never like in a good mood, you know? Like it's like I always have to. It's like I'm always like in a bad mood or some shit, or like in like a depressive mood or something, and then like I make something that's good, and then it's like, yeah, then you get something that's good, and then it's like when I'm not feeling it like that, then it's like I'm not really even into making beats. Like I rather do something else.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling cool right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, 100%, man. And like like outside of that beat making, what else do you do like in terms of like activities or hobbies and that type of sense too?
My hobbies, shit. Like I guess like outside of that is like my hobbies would be I don't really have like too much hobbies. Like it would be I'm into clothing, I guess. I'm into fashion. I'm into art and fashion. That's what the things I'm into. Art, fashion, jewelry, those things.
No, I definitely know what you mean, man. Just with like all that type of stuff too, and also too like you being like a vital part like in the Toronto music scene too. Like how do you feel about it right now, and do you feel that there should be some changes on what the scene should go to, or do you feel like it's fine the way it is?
I feel like I don't know. Like if I was to be honest, I feel like the Toronto scene is like kind of weak. It's like it's kind of dead. Nothing's really popping off. Like there's no one like really like oh this. I don't know. I feel like no one's like really making like any noise or anything like that. And like not that I'm trying to bring negativity into it or anything, but it's like I feel like when top 5 was like
Like around
free, like
yeah.
I feel like things was popping, like
Yeah.
and like now it's like things is not popping. Like when he was like around, like he was like doing like the interviews like with DJ Academics, and it felt like
Yeah.
Toronto's got like known like on like a bigger scene and everything, but like feels like everything died down. It's not the same. I don't know. That's how I feel about that.
Most definitely, and like you don't have like any like pet peeves as a producer or anything like that too, or like in the booth, like what would be like a pet peeve like in that sense?
Pet peeve. Like pet peeve like what?
Like some situations too, like if like stems, like producer stems, like sometimes too, like when you produce a beat and like the artists like doesn't like that type of sound, like in that sense too, like they would want to like change the stems for a bit, or like they would like to hold off the stems to work on a better sometimes there could be conflicts like that, or like leaving like liquid like at like a producer booth or like at an engineer booth where it's like keyboards and all that, like stuff like that.
That's why I like to work like from like my studio, like so I don't have any of those issues. Like I do whatever I want in my studio. Like it gets my studio. I do whatever I want. I don't have any of those issues. When it comes to like stems and stuff like that, like yeah, I don't like to like that's another thing too. Like some of these like rappers or like yeah these rappers like they like to yo let me sit down with you, let me cook up a beat with you, let you'll arrange a stem, like stuff like that. Like I'm not into that. Like I rather just cook up a beat and then like yo send it out and it is what it is. And like if I like you and stuff like that, then maybe I'll do all that extra stuff. But like these fake chain wearing rappers, like like I ain't really into that. Like sitting down with you, helping you out cook up something that's fire. Like I ain't into none of that kind of stuff. I rather sit by myself in my own studio, cook up my own shit, and that's how I go about like that. Like, and also too, when you work with me and if I fuck with you, like you're in good hands. Like I'll pay for your studio time. You don't gotta worry about nothing. These artists, they got their demons or whatever. I'll feed that and I'll provide you what you need so we can make the best music. Like that's what I do. Like you don't gotta. You could be yourself. Like that's what I'm all about. Like like I don't judge. Like I want you to be yourself. Like whatever gets like the best music done.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And like you don't have any regrets or anything like that?
Yeah, it's no, I don't have no regrets. Like, no, I don't have any. No, I don't have any regrets. I feel like everything is like a learning experience. Like, at the end of the day, it's like maybe if something goes left, maybe if something goes bad, then for the future not to go that same route or something like that.
Sure. No, most definitely, man. And do you have any closing remarks you'd like to say?
Pardon?
Do you have any closing remarks you'd like to say?
Closing remarks. I would say, check me out. The best place to check me out is on Instagram, and it's Remix Chalet, and it's spelled RMXCHVLET. And I make like fire beats. Check me out. And I wouldn't really be doing beats and stuff like that if it wasn't into my friend's juicery, Ase Juicery, 982 Bloor. Check it out. They got the best juice in the city. And also, too, at the same location, they got nice clothing. Check that out as well. They do clothes for everybody. And, celebrities come through, pop in. That's how we do. That's what I got to say. Also, too, thank you. I respect everything, I watch your interviews. I watch everything, So, thank you and everything. And that's what I got to say.
Likewise, man. Remix Chalet, thank you for pulling up, and just sharing your stories, sharing your gems, sharing everything like that, too. And, this good juice right here, the Island Sun, like from Ase Juicery, it's amazing. And I got to shout them out, either way, too, and we'll definitely tap in soon with that, too. And for people listening, it's going to be out on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like wherever you get your podcasts. Definitely tap in with the reviews, all that type of stuff, too. And, this is Josh, also known as Yashu, episode 34 with the legendary, rising, dope, amazing producer, Remix Chalet, in affiliation with Ase Juicery on TLOY Talks, signing off.